New super shoe alert, this time from ASICS. Let's talk about these two beauties. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. So about a month ago, I was sitting around thinking about all the super shoes that have released in 2024 and how incredible they are. But it also came to me that we hadn't heard from ASICS in a while on the super shoe front. After all, how long has it been since they released the MetaSpeed Sky Plus and the MetaSpeed Edge Plus? Well, it's like they heard me. It's like they knew that I was thinking that, because no sooner did that thought leave my mind than these two shoes showed up at my door. Introducing to you the MetaSpeed Sky Paris and the MetaSpeed Edge Paris. Quick pause before we start talking about the super shoes. If you have recently subscribed to the channel, I super appreciate it. I just crossed 20K subs a little bit ago, and we're just trying to climb on up. So if you aren't subscribed, please go do that. It really helps the channel. And if one video a week on YouTube is not enough, then I suggest you go follow me on Instagram at @RunLikeKeller. I'm posting lots of different kind of content there, shorter form stuff, you know, life content. Whatever Instagrammers do, that's what I'm doing. So again, go follow me on Instagram as well. Back to the show. As you probably guessed, the Paris name is because we are heading into an Olympic year in Paris. I've been running in these two shoes for the last, I don't know, week and a half. And it's kind of exciting to me because if you haven't seen my Instagram already, I announced that I'm doing the Cherry Blossom 10 miler with ASICS. So I'm likely gonna pick between one of these two shoes to run in on race day. So getting the chance to really test them out for all of you and for myself, honestly, was a privilege. So we're gonna talk about that today. We're gonna try to dive into the differences between these two shoes, as complicated as it might seem even for me. And we're gonna talk about the uppers, the new midsole, the outsoles, and maybe which of these is best for you. Of course, before we get into all that though, you gotta watch the run footage, where I'll also put the specs.
Getting drunk from 7 to 3, overindulged in flesh like it's free. We're on a fast ride where monkeys killing time with machines. Making love that we don't even feel. You don't even notice if it's her or it's me. But somewhere deep in it's cutting like a knife, so you just kill it with that one. All of a sudden you are free. You call your mom and say, hey, it's me. I just need some more mommy money. I'm gonna spend it, filling up my house, my face, my body, and my tongue, 'cause I just wanna feel good. Using all that's left, somewhere in your chest, on your sweetheart hedonist. Uh-oh.
Before we get started today, I do want to let you know that these two shoes were sent to me by ASICS. However, they're not going to see this video before you. They can't tell me what to say, and all of my opinions are my own. And just because I'm doing the Cherry Blossom 10 miler with ASICS does not mean that I am obligated to say anything good about these two shoes. Okay? Okay, so starting with the upper, both the MetaSpeed Sky Paris and the MetaSpeed Edge Paris have a Motion Wrap 2.0 upper. This is just a fancy word for a very premium mesh that they're using for these two shoes. When it comes to the upper, the Sky and the Edge are pretty much identical. They're both extremely breathable. You have a really minimal midfoot here with not a ton of overlays, but still somehow that Motion Wrap is wrapping my foot down onto the platform. And if we go to the back, the heel counters for both of the shoes are pretty sturdy. When it comes to the improvements from the MetaSpeed Sky Plus and Edge Plus, which is the green shoe right there, I think this is definitely a much improved material. Like I said, it's gonna be way more breathable, and it really does have a nice lockdown onto that platform, which is super helpful for when you're trying to run at a faster pace. Another thing I noticed about these two shoes that is an improvement over the previous versions is the sizing. I actually had to size up in my MetaSpeed Sky, the original, I believe, and maybe even in this one, I'll have to check. But in these two shoes, my 10.5 in women's fits perfectly. I'm not feeling like my toes are hitting the top of the shoe anymore. It's the perfect amount of length, and that is a big deal in my book. As you can see, the laces are ribbed to help the shoes stay tied. The tongue is pretty minimal. It's not gusseted, and it's kind of flimsy. I don't know, feels like an afterthought because of how good the rest of the upper is to me. And something else I like about this shoe is that they did add some padding inside and over the top of the ankle collar of the shoe. I'm not a big fan, as you guys probably know, of the shoes that have just the padding in the ankle collar only and not around the top. So we don't have that problem here. Now, in terms of width in both the Sky Paris and the Edge Paris, I would say in the midfoot it is on the narrow side, but in the Sky, the forefoot is going to open up a little bit more. The edge is not narrow by any means, but if you're looking for a slightly wider forefoot, you're probably going to find it in the Sky. I had no issues with hot spots, blisters, or irritation in the Sky Paris or the Edge Paris, and I'd say, again, a big upgrade here from ASICS and an upper that I'm really digging. Okay, so now we're going to chat about the midsoles, which is where these two shoes start to differ a bit in feel and in technology, while still maintaining some of the same qualities. Both of these shoes have a brand new foam from ASICS, the FF Turbo Plus foam. This is a PEBA based midsole material. It's ASICS' own version of it. And right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you that it's much improved over just regular FF Turbo. And of course, both of these shoes have carbon plates sandwiched in between the layers of this FF Turbo Plus, and they are also constructed differently. So now let's talk a little bit about the differences between these two shoes, who they're meant for, and all that stuff. I figured first we'll start with the MetaSpeed Sky Paris. ASICS says that the Sky is optimized for a stride style of running. What does that mean? Well, basically that just means that you have a longer gait, a longer stride, so you spend more time airborne rather than pounding the pavement. ASICS believes that stride runners become faster in their running by just increasing their stride length. Because of that, ASICS believes the best way to go about constructing this plate was to keep it closer to the foot and wider in the forefoot to increase bounce from the foam. The plate is also pretty flat and even, but when it comes down to the forefoot, it does take a dip. If you follow this line here, you can tell the plate is pretty straight, and then dips down into the forefoot. So you're getting that toe off, but you might feel it a little bit later into the stride. But now let's take a look at the Edge Paris. ASICS believes that the Edge is built for cadence runners. ASICS says that cadence runners, they take smaller steps with more minimal up and down motion, and they increase their speed by both extending their stride length, but also increasing the number of steps they take per minute. So this plate was created with a different shape. It's more of an S style, and ASICS says that more propulsion is gained through the positioning of this plate and also a more curved sole. This plate, it curves a little bit more down. It's less straight. It dips down further closer to the ground or the outsole and then curves back up. So the next question you probably have is, how do I figure out if I'm a stride style runner or a cadence style runner? And honestly, that's a question that I don't know how to answer because I don't even know what type of runner I am. I am just going to speak from experience with running in these two shoes and how they differed for me. And hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of how they might feel for you. I'm gonna tell you that both of these shoes feel a lot better than the MetaSpeed Sky and Edge Plus. The foam is softer for sure. Recently I ran in the MetaSpeed Sky Plus and I think I liked it at first when I first reviewed it, but when I ran in it the other day, I remembered that it was actually kind of harsh, or maybe my bones are just older and they didn't like it as much, but it felt harsh to me. Then putting these two shoes on, I was like, okay, these feel a lot more improved, a lot better in that sense. And not only is the foam softer, but I just think it has better energy return. It feels more alive in both of the shoes. Both shoes are also lighter than the MetaSpeed Sky Plus and Edge Plus, so another positive. So if you're wondering if you should upgrade to either, then the answer is yes. Now let's talk about how both of these shoes felt individually. Starting with the MetaSpeed Sky Paris, admittedly, I have a little bit less mileage on this pair than I do on the Edge. At the time of this review, I'll probably have about 17 miles on this pair, and on the Edge I have over 20. I definitely liked the way that this shoe felt in the forefoot because it is wider. I remember I had mentioned that in the upper part of the video. Well, it definitely has a wider platform here in the forefoot, which helps me because I like that little bit of extra stability. While the Sky Paris and the Edge Paris both have the same amount of foam underfoot, I still felt like the Sky had a little more cushioning in that forefoot area. Today I took it out on a workout. It was 1 mile warm up, followed by 5 1K repeats at 5K pace or under, followed by a 1 mile cool down. And as my foot was compressing during those 1K intervals, I did feel like there was more there to compress. And it doesn't compress and stay compressed. It is reactive, it is energetic. Going slower, easier paces, I also felt like this shoe was just fine. It's obviously not made for that, so it might feel a little bit awkward at first, but once you get into a rhythm, you don't really notice it. The feeling of the arch is really prominent, especially when just like standing around in the shoe. That's probably because I have a narrow foot with a high arch, so I really felt it, and I didn't think I was gonna like this shoe because of that. But once I started running, that feeling started to fade away. But it is something that I did want to point out because I know that can cause some irritation for people. Another thing I noticed is that the way that this plate is constructed, I did feel like I had to kind of get up on my toes a little bit more to feel that propulsion from the plate. I did notice that a bit, and I wonder if that's because of how straight this plate might be and how it just dips right into the forefoot. Maybe that dip isn't really enough for me and I need something a little further back. But it's not a deal breaker at all. And if you had just handed me this shoe, if the Edge didn't exist, I would be sitting here and telling you that I absolutely loved it. And I do. But I think that me and the Edge get along a little bit better, so we'll talk about that shoe now. First things first, this shoe used to be in the Edge Plus. It was an 8mm drop. They lowered it to a 5mm drop, so both the Sky Paris and the Edge Paris have a 5mm drop with the same amount of drop, so same amount of foam. Overall, I do tend to get along with this shoe a little better, which is interesting because if you ask me, it feels slightly more aggressive than the Sky Paris does. Typically, I don't really love a super aggressive shoe, so I'm surprised that the Edge is what I'm gravitating towards here, but for some reason, I just get along with it better. My guess is that it's because the plate starts a little bit further back, starting that dip. It's not just straight all the way down and then dips really drastically in the forefoot. It's kind of already dipping in that heel and arch area. And I think that helps for me because I tend to land on like the heelish slash back of my midfoot, and then I gotta come all the way forward to get that propulsion in the plate. And I think because of the way it's constructed, that only helps me here. When I get up on my toes in the Edge Paris, I really feel that propulsion. It feels like my foot is in like a little bullet. It's a smooth ride, it's a fast ride, and it's aggressive enough, but because of the improved PIBA FF Turbo Plus you got here, it does maintain some of that softness. So it's not gonna be extremely aggressive, just a little aggressive. And while it felt good at those faster paces, at an easier pace, it also doesn't feel bad. It still has a little bit of that awkwardness that a super shoe typically does. But for some reason, I just didn't feel like it felt as strange as the Sky Paris did. Both of these shoes are going to be great options for anything from 5K to marathon distance. I'm not so sure I could have completed a marathon in the MetaSpeed Sky Plus. I would be more inclined to try one of these bad boys and gals out for a marathon distance run. Again, that new foam is really a game changer here, and I love that they are giving you two options to choose from. While it might be a little confusing to figure out which runner you are and which one you should try out, hopefully videos like this help you a little bit. Turning these two shoes over, they're both utilizing ASICS grip rubber, and they both do a great job of gripping onto the pavement. I haven't run in these shoes in any really inclement weather, but my guess is that it would do just fine. ASICS usually has pretty good rubber on their shoes. I am seeing a little bit of fraying on the medial side of this shoe by the outsole, especially in the edge. Try to bring that up here. I don't think it's anything too serious. It's probably just cosmetic, but I am interested to see, as I will be running in this shoe more, and this shoe, how they hold up in terms of the outsole. The ASICS MetaSpeed Sky Paris and the MetaSpeed Edge Paris will be available on March 4th for $250. Pretty par for the course when it comes to super shoes and their pricing. If you're interested in picking up either one of these shoes, I will link them down below in the description. You can click those links and pick up your own pair. Keep in mind, these will be affiliate links with Running Warehouse. However, that doesn't mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can keep making these videos. Will you be picking up a pair of the MetaSpeed Sky Paris or the MetaSpeed Edge Paris? What type of runner are you? Are you cadence? Are you stride? Do you not really know? Let me know in the comments down below because I don't really know either. All right, everybody, that concludes my initial impressions of the ASICS MetaSpeed Sky Paris and the ASICS MetaSpeed Edge Paris. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. The colors of these shoes, I mean, this is everything. Chef's kiss, amazing, 10 out of 10. Whoever designed the shoe, kudos to you. I have another video for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like heller. Oh, and I will be posting on Instagram some like updates in my cherry blossom training, some reels, stuff like that. So again, if you want to see some of that stuff, go follow me on the gram. See you next time.